From Boca Raton, Florida, this is Behind the Bima. On this episode, Rabbi Goldberg is joined by Rabbi Daniel Kalish, the Menahel of Mesivta of Waterbury. Rabbi Kalish delves into the themes of community legacy, the impact of his father's dedication to Torah, and the importance of connecting both within the community and in personal relationships. Rabbi Kalish shares profound insights on maintaining moral integrity, the significance of friendship and marriage, and the transformative power of faith and personal connection. Plus, reflections on contemporary challenges and the role of the Jewish community in fostering unity and resilience. All this and more, Behind the Bima.
Okay, well, it's Schmooze of Kalish to welcome you back to Boca Raton, and we're super excited for Shabbos and our Motzei Shabbos Big Base Medrash event. And we couldn't have you local and not take advantage of a conversation to schmooze and to share it with the world. So welcome back and thank you. And the first thing I'll say is, on behalf of our community, we'll add to the rest of Kalish in expressing our divrei nechama, our comfort, the loss of your father, tremendous Talmid Chacham and mashpia, somebody who set the bar high, not only for his community, but all Klal Yisrael as we've come to learn. So we hope that you're finding strength and comfort. What do you think was his greatest legacy? What's the greatest impact? That's not a one-word answer, I understand. But what do you think best captures and encapsulates the life and the legacy that he left?
Wow, that's a good question. First of all, thank you. It's an honor to be back. And I appreciate you inviting me back. And the words
Permanent open invitation.
Thank you. And the words of Nechama mean a lot. It's interesting, talking about my father. People, obviously, you get people comfort. A lot of people, I've heard it like spoken at the house of mourners, like this one said this not smart thing. I didn't hear one not smart thing because it wasn't really the words people said. People coming and comforting matters a lot. And like you say, you joined Klal, so really I could say that I have felt, and my siblings, how many people care, and Klal Yisrael's wishes of comfort matter. It matters, you feel it, and that is something that's significant at the base of it. Each person comes, you think it's a lot of people, each one comes, a person's here. People always think what they should say, just that they show up. Since I sat Shiva myself, I've been to difficult things, and you always go there wondering what you should say. I'm sure as a Rav, people waiting to hear your words, and really it's not any words we say, really I'm here, and your loss is our loss, and I have felt that from our people. So to say a legacy of my father, there'll probably be a few things that I would focus on. My parents were amazingly loyal to Torah. My father went to Highlight, today Haftar. Right. My mother went to Central, and beautiful schools and Yiddish kids, but their community, their friends, it was not in style like to learn, to sit and learn for life. You didn't care about Torah, but to learn for life. My father's high school class, there were 50 boys graduated. For a year after high school, 2 kids were learning, him and another boy, and that boy learned 1 year. So 2 years after high school, he was the only kid still learning.
What made him? Who inspired him, motivated him?
It's like the $1 million question. Even during Shiva, all of us talking about that, like, what? Where did Abba, where did Imach, what? And there's no good answer. That's the cool thing that a Yid. My parents decided they fell in love with Torah. My mother described that she went out with 50 boys. It's a Friday. My mother, now, she didn't say it all the years. She said, I just wanted somebody learning Torah. Wow. She asked my father on the first date, she asked him, how many hours a day do you learn? My father said, it's a very personal question. He said, I don't want him to answer. Right. But she was just, my mother's an amazing person. Wow. And it's not like socially, or she's socially with it. But she needed Torah. She wanted Torah. You can still ask. Who was it? A teacher? Was it her own parents? Was it a book she read? We've asked them both. We've asked my parents. It's not like lack of asking, and you get answers when you have kashas. Right. In a real way, they're just both Yidden. Right. And they both, and like I say, even the schools, their parents, my grandparents were both sides. Somebody may say simple Yidden, but they were Yidden. Yidden, real Yidden. And their kids chose Torah. Like it's mind-boggling. So the biggest legacy, they've been loyal to Torah. My parents, my mother my parents were together. They worked together. My mother celebrated her husband's a Talmid Chacham, remains like huge to her. In the hospital room at the end, so I saw my mother was davening. She was like looking around. So I said, Ima, I'll find out which way is Mizrach. Right. I'll call in an aide. I'll get a phone, like a smartphone. We'll find out which way is east. My mother said, oh no, I'm facing the Aron. I'm facing the Aron. Her respect. I saw my mother. My father was not conscious. I saw my mother singing. My father. I don't think the rest of my life I'll forget that scene.
Wow.
They were loyal to Torah, to Yidden. Like, they're not from rabbinic families, like, really not. And not from backgrounds of, my mother's parents thought she was great. It wasn't done. She wanted Torah, my father wanted Torah, and they spent a life loyal to Torah. So that's like probably the biggest legacy. Two people who chose Torah, who learned it, who taught it.
And they partnered it. He couldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it without her cheerleading. Even at the end, Torah Hashem Timim was singing, pushing. Wow.
And he was the respect. A Yid on the street was once mad at my father. I was walking. I was probably 13. So that's quite a few, over 10 years. I'm remembering this from.
Yeah.
And a Yid was mad at my father about something. And I remember a Yid saying, "You're 13." A guy screaming at your father. You're like, take it back.
Right. Yeah.
And the Yid, my mom was upset about something. And the Yid said, "Who was your Rebbe?" My father had big Rabbi, Mordechai Marcus, like really big people. And this person screamed, "Who's your Rebbe?" And my father said back, "My wife." The guy was like, I was 13. I remember his say,
yeah.
I never heard somebody talk about that.
Right.
He wasn't Joe. He wasn't like he wasn't like a comedian. He wasn't trying to hurt another Yid. He was like, my wife is my Rebbe. And they like respected each other through the roof. And they were partners. And the lasting legacy is partners who were loyal to Torah and taught it and lived it and learned it.
Wow. I don't know a Rebbe who's more in love with and admires and loyal to his Talmidim than you, Rabbi Kalish. Makes it impossible for anyone who's not your Talmud to get in touch with you, but it's a small price to pay for the impact that you're having on your Talmidim, on your students. And so you historically haven't traveled that much, but I know that since October 7th and since the war, you've traveled a lot in Eretz Yisrael and elsewhere. And you've made the circuit, and I love seeing the videos and the pictures that come out from when you land and you're Talmidim, the Waterbury boys are there at the airport. I land, I look for signs. Anyone know? Anyone care? Anyone? Nah, nothing. I'm on my own. Rent a car, find the shira. Good luck. It's a mamash, like a parade, like a red carpet. It's unbelievable. But you've been going around to all yeshivas from the spectrum, including Hesder yeshivas and so on and so forth. What changed? Why are you traveling, and why are you giving your time, and why? What happened? I know it takes a lot to get you out of Waterbury and away from your Talmidim. What's different?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to say I don't love travel. I like it's fun being in Boca is for sure good, and beautiful people, beautiful place, and traveling has aspects of fun. But I like being present to my family,
right?
And I like being present to the yeshiva. I don't want to be that busy guy who's running, and that's certainly I want to be around. All of us, one of the legacies, my parents went to Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael, the Jewish people. My father, when Eretz Yisrael would see a soldier, my father's respect, he's protecting Am Yisrael, real respect, always. He would tell his grandchildren, his children this, the respect is all the years. He was somebody who cared about our people. That was somebody, I think, from his parents, my grandmother was some of my grandparents, Am Yisrael, our people, very loyal Yidden. I want to say since Simchas Torah, since October 7th, I think all of us have made Chazukim to be closer. I don't want us to let go of it. We're right now, yesterday, Hostages released, beautiful Yidden, Be'ezus Hashem over the weekend, more Hostages released. We've all been more conscious, our people, davening for our people, shuls wherever you go, on Shabbos, St. Tillim, still. So there's been an awareness, I think just, to me, it's a personal mission, us, know them, all our man-made titles, Siddush, Litvish, Mizrahi, Sephardi, all these titles are cute, they're very cute, they have a purpose, and they mean maybe even more than cute in a certain way, but the Am Yisrael, what Hashem made, a people of Hashem, and I really want for myself and my family to tap into that, our people, and I think to connect my own family to the guys in yeshiva, to our people, the larger our people. I try to access to the guys in yeshiva, to my own kids, just more parts of our people. we can equally take pride in the Mesha Yid, that we pride in the histapkus, the simplicity, the Mesiras Nefesh, and the soldier who's fighting for Am Yisrael. They're both our people. It's one people. We're secure enough to learn from all segments of our people, to be moved by our people. I'm drawn to you and what you do here. I've seen the shul, there's all different binyanim. It's our people. It's one. We have different minhag and different shvakim.
Are you drawn to the people who don't see all of our people as our people? Because that's sometimes the hardest. Meaning to see the diversity and to love everybody and to find the best in everybody and to connect with everybody. But then for me, sometimes the hardest, and particularly over the last year and a half in this war, some of the people who have said some extreme and sometimes outrageous and some things that seem inconsistent with our Masorah and our Torah, is to connect with them. The people who don't see the totality of it, it's hard to sometimes love and connect with them too.
That's it. I love that. I love that. That's not just a question. It's like a statement. It's a charge that the love has to be everywhere. So certainly we hit it off because I think we stand for a thing together, something. I know we stand for something together, our people, one people. When we see somebody who's divisive, it's difficult. And the Gemara speaks about Geniva. The Gemara says he was a Talmud Chacham, but you shouldn't stand up for him. Palgohu, he's a divisive person. So let's say we meet somebody we feel is being divisive, causing division in our people. You don't fight divisiveness with divisiveness. And the answer is we love him too. And maybe even see and shrush him of what that person's saying. The divisive part, we could be Mekarev, but the shrushim of things people stand for, we need him too. So I think that's.
So we don't fight the divisiveness with divisiveness, but do we not stand up for him? Meaning, do you teach your Talmidim that there's Torah, there's merit, but here's who we stand up for, and we don't necessarily stand up for, literally or figuratively, people who are divisive.
I think we have to speak the truth to people around us. But I think the love and the respect to that person has to be real also. It has to be as real as anybody else. And to see in the shrushim of that person a wonderful person has to be there. So in a certain way, like you say, to stand up for that, I respect the person and trying to bring it her, and maybe even they're tapping into something. So I try. This is like a difficult. For all of us, when we stand, I want to say Hillel and Shammai had full respect for each other. Let's say you don't hold, that's Shammai. You're Hillel, you don't Shammai. You're Shammai, you don't hold, that's Hillel. Is that the or? Right. It's hard for us to say the or the other person should bring. What we could do is respect and appreciate and even see deeper maybe than they're saying. When I see somebody, it could come out as divisive. The shrushim they're saying are not divisive. And I almost want that person bring the or you're bringing without the divisive element. I want to say that people who see all of Am Yisrael can actually reach out to that one also with love and respect and understanding. And the more we can even love and find space for that person, we could actually connect Klal Yisrael. So even people seeming to say outlandish statements and divisive statements, we have to be Mekarev with tremendous love and even learn from them, from shrushim that they're saying, even if the method might be wrong.
So what's driving you to travel, to go, is just a yearning to connect with Klal Yisrael more than ever before. Yeah. We can't retreat and stay away. We got to be together. We just want to connect.
I feel that way.
It's a beautiful thing. So we're in the days of Shovavim, which in more recent years are focused on trying to work on Inyani Kedusha, living holier lives and more disciplined lives, more regulated lives. And we're living in a time, I don't think I originated this idea, but I say often that to be a moral man in today's world, we see more temptation, image, opportunity in one day than the Chavetz Chaim probably saw in his whole life. In Radin, the billboards, there was no technology, there was no internet, the style and mode of dress, there was no beach. What we see in one day, just driving down the highway or just being exposed with technology, is more challenging to be a moral man in today's world. And a lot of people, a lot of guys, a lot of men, what I'm hearing and seeing, are starting to crumble under the pressure of being a man. Whether it's making minyan and learning, which is the measurement of a good man, is he learning the dafras, whatever he's learning, making minyan, learning, providing for your family, getting through the day. And on top of that, Shmir said, don't look at the wrong thing, don't think about the wrong thing, don't do the wrong thing. And it's overwhelming and it's enormous. And even those who are struggling, They can't be honest about it, particularly if you're married. Are you going to tell your wife you're struggling in a way that the thing that you're struggling about could offend or hurt her? She can't understand. She can understand you're struggling on your diet because she also struggles with a diet. She understands you're struggling to get enough sleep because she also likes to stay up and doesn't go to get enough sleep. And then you can say, yeah, but in this Nakuda, I struggle. All of a sudden, you're going to be on the couch of a therapist. You're going to be meeting with the rabbi, Shalom Bayis problems. So he turns inward and he keeps it to himself. And who's going to tell his Chavrutza and his Rebbe? What are they going to look at him differently? So people are in the shadows. They're feeling alone. They think they're the only one. They're struggling. And it's coming out with taking on habits or acting out, or they feel, once I do this thing anyway, what's the point of the rest of it? And then they throw so much away. So I know you weren't prepared for this, any of this conversation. I just grabbed you on the couch and grabbed a camera and a microphone because I couldn't miss the chance. And certainly I didn't tell you that we were going to talk about Shovim. I'm not sure I knew I was. But I want to take advantage of this time. What do you tell that guy? What do we work on? And what do we admit ourselves we're normal and we're healthy and that we also are working on if we're willing to? And what do you tell the guy in Waterbury today? The guy who graduated Waterbury and now he's married and he's steiging, he's learning Ramat Shkol, or he's living as a balabas wherever he is, because it doesn't matter if you're full-time learning, it doesn't matter if you're working, it may not matter if you're a Rebbe and a Rav and a Manal and a Rosh Hashiva. If you're healthy and you're normal and you're living in this world with this relentless onslaught of these images, it's a lot to make enough, afford enough to get through the day, to live this moral life, and to be able to be honest and vulnerable about the struggle. What's the message? Give some chizik, some hope. What's the answer?
Yeah, I love that you brought it up. First of all, we're even talking about people afraid to talk about it. It's like we're sitting on the couch, getting right in there, and to talk shavim, shmiras habris, and sugyas of right in there. That it's a wide sugya. I would say one thing is to be honest, to find friends. The fact that we struggle and it's a world of a lot of images and pictures and we have to remember Hashem put us here, knows us deeply and knows the situation. He made this and orchestrated this situation. He's with us. What does it point us? What's happening? What's the answers to this? We try to be from our local class. What's the answer? So I want to say two things. First, I want to say friendship and connection. The very holding up and not speaking is the opposite. That compounds the very sugya of crave connection. Sitting with somebody and talking about our struggles, being honest, finding friends and trustworthy people. This question, how much somebody tells their wife, and this question, ultimately husband and wife should talk. And the man should express and has to express.
Even this struggle?
With the guidance of probably professional, depending on the person, the situation, I think a person has to be honest, and there should be marriage, connection. How it should be done is...
I don't want to cut you off, but do you think also there's work to be done that a lot of the young women who are coming through, Baruch Hashem, a strong educational system, but some of the emphasis in the way that tznius is taught is that, men are pigs, they're disgusting, they're animals, they want this, so you need to cover up and not sing and live a tzanua life. And B'nai Torah are not that. They're realizing the chilek alakah in them, not that animal. And then this woman gets married and she discovers that her husband is not giving a shir klali at the Shabbos table, and the husband who's a stark ben Torah. But the fact that he craves or yearns or wants or struggles means he's healthy and that he's normal. And now he can't even necessarily even be honest with her. So are we going to destroy young women if we tell them even earlier on, kala classes or earlier, you should just know the boy that ultimately you're going to marry, he's going to overcome the struggles and he's going to be a ben Torah and he's going to fight and he's going to succeed, please God. But if he ever admits to you that there's a struggle, all it means is that he's human. It doesn't mean that he's not a reject that you shouldn't have married. Is that a message we should be getting in?
I don't know the answer. It's a good question. I wonder that. For sure, an emphasis on a greater connection, husband and wife, just in general, friendship. My parents, I'm talking about these two ambassadors for Torah, their Scrabble game was huge. And they played Scrabble all their lives, till the end.
Wow.
Till the end. Their friendship was like remarkable. Two human beings could argue, but they were friends. They would play tennis together, played Scrabble together, but that was what big. The tennis games for decades. Tennis together, Scrabble together. My parents were in a camp down at a Chassidish yeshiva there. And the Chassidish yeshiva felt our husband and wife playing tennis together, so they said, you can't play anymore. My father said, I'm playing my wife. So he said, when do you have Seder? I'll play during Seder.
No,
he played during their Seder. And they were playing during the Seder, and the Chassidish dorm was near the tennis court. And
Yeah.
while they're playing, all of a sudden, like dozens of Chassidish Bachs start screaming, Rebbitzin, Rebbitzin.
It's great.
And my parents played, and
That's
it's
great.
good the Chassidish Bachim saw
Right.
my parents playing tennis. And it's good that the Chassidim that don't like that, that's good too. But my parents, the Scrabble games that were so important. So just connection, the opposite of that sugya, the world is a place people are craving connection, honest, open, healthy relationship. I want to talk about this topic as a sensitive thing. I want to say that is very cool related to this topic. I think it's good for Shaivim, and it's important. My father in his community, as a fellow Rav, I watched my father with the woman of his community was excellent. Attention, relationship, men, women, and children. And what I thought a lot about in the months since, and I want to get better, being better at being mechabed the ladies of the community. Now, of course, it's a sensitive topic. Avram Karves Anashim, Sarim Karves Anashim.
Right.
There was tremendous kedusha in my father's connection to the woman of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that he was a secure person who he was. And he gave men, women, and children that time, attention, focus. And it was exactly his kedusha. And I want to say like this, that the ikr of Shmir Sabris, the ikr sugya, is to know we're Yiddi. Bris Milah says we have a connection to Hashem, we're wanted, our avodah is important. The ikr sugya of Shavim is we're Hashem's people and we count. If a guy wakes up 11 o'clock, his davening counts. A guy's struggling, he's not learning, he's already made mistakes, his avodah counts and he's important. He has a place and his avodah counts. That's the ikra. Anachnu amcha. That's what bris means. Hashem wants us. He wants a connection. He wants our avodah. My father had a mission. Him and my mother were on a mission, and his kedusha came from that place. I'm on a mission to teach Torah, to learn Torah, to encourage Yidden. From that space, it was like safe, and he was very secure in that space. Sometimes we replace some sort of like an insecurity and build insecurity to be comfortably us, to know there's a space for us. Speak to a friend, speak to somebody, open up. That's like a big part of the sugya of Shmir Sabris, but know there's a place for us. We're mattered. We have a covenant with Hashem. Our avodah matters. I think there's somebody makes a shahakol b'kavanah on vacation, that's Shmir Sabris. But I mean that because that's the sense. Make it like a rebbe, like you mamish at the tish. Your shahakol matters, like your avodah matters. That's like the ikr shmir sabris, and even ba'omek of this sugya of knowing a person matters and counts. As our community gets larger, and Baruch Hashem, we're a robust, big community. The importance of every sin, there's no extras. Right now, Am Yisrael is welcoming back hostages. We don't have extras by us. We don't have one we can spare her. We can't spare anybody. And like knowing we count, we matter, there's a place, to me, it's like Shovim, is like the ikr of the sugya, the way I see it.
So it's the opposite. Most people think of Shmir Sabris is this like lightning's going to strike and you're going to burn, and if you're not careful and if you look at or act out or do the wrong thing. Interesting, the Shmir Sabris is don't forget that no matter whatever mistake you made, the bris is he loves you anyway.
Yeah.
And bounce back, and that your next act, your next moment, your next minute that you're careful, it means something even if you weren't careful for the last 3 hours.
This is like this is like in a real way. This is not like a modern day psychologically friendly chat.
Yeah.
It's the truth of Shmir Sabris. That's what Shmir Sabris is at its core. That's what it means. Of course, that brings to a tremendous kedusha and Torah when we live with that. My father was a kaddish, a very holy person. The kedusha came. He was on a mission. Him and my mom. And he was secure and comfortable who he was, his own avodah. He told us as kids, as long as a father is overly tough on his kids, because he's given up on himself. He said, you guys are lucky I don't give up on me. The sense my mission, their mission mattered.
Right.
And he looked at Yidden, Yidden counted to him.
Every moment. So that's very helpful afterwards. The person who acted out, made a mistake, is feeling shame, guilt. That definition of Shmir Sabris is helpful to bounce back. But what about to prevent? A person says, I'm moved, I'm inspired, I want to spend the rest of these weeks of Shovim, I want to work on this issue. So a greater connection with a wife, a greater connection with a friend, meaning the more connected someone is the less they'll have to fill that vacuum with other behavior that they're not proud of.
Yeah, I do. I think so. Again, I don't want to oversimplify a sugya that people grapple and struggle and are in pain from, and then, like you said, there's a tremendous amount of shame. But I think the deepest place we have it, we're part of a culture from young ages. People make mistakes and are inundated. This was Hashem put us here and created
Right.
this. I think the awareness of what we are, the big place everybody looks for Shmir Sabris is Yosef Atzadik. He's in Mitzrayim, the whole country like vying
Right.
for his attention. B'nai Sada Laishur. To say it bluntly, every girl in Mitzrayim is climbing walls, looking at him, throwing ornaments, drawing his attention. And Yosef Hashem Shemayim Shagar B'Fim, he doesn't forget who he is. He sees the most deep of his father. We can't, but like real. It's not like a slogan and I have to live this way. It's not like this is not meant for a struggling kid. It's meant for a younger man learning in Nebraska 60 years. Incredible.
Right.
His avodah matters. Maybe in some ways that there's a culture of gedolim and tzaddikim that's great, that's inspirational. There's a misuse of tzaddikim. It says that if a person, the pasuk says that if a person serves Hashem mitzvah national mother by rote, we lose tzaddikim. Or we lose tzaddikim, we need more tzaddikim. I think there could be a misuse of tzaddikim, the big people, the big ones, and then there's us. It's the big ones inspire us that we count. A person's service matters. My father's avodah inspired. My father knew Shas. When a yid came to learn, a yid learned. A yid was sleepy. Did he follow? He was very machshir that yid's learning Torah. So the avodah of every yid, the bracha of every yid, but real, and we could really bring that into our own selves. I think that helps tremendously in sugyas of shame, of puzzle, of already. It's not that way. It's not
a big. I don't want to be presumptuous to use the words the Rav's success, but what I've seen from the Rav's Talmidim, from your Talmidim, is not all, but many people. I shouldn't say Talmidim because I don't want to characterize the yeshiva. By Talmidim, I mean everybody, including people like me who listen to what Rabbi Kalish says, available online. Is it's people who may otherwise feel invisible or that they don't matter, that your magic is making everyone feel that they matter. Is that the mission? That's the mission statement. Is that necessarily more in chinuch and parenting? Is that missing? We're covering curriculum. We're preparing for tests. We're getting grades. We're meeting other people's expectations and standards. But just reminding that you matter and you're visible and you're seen and you count. Is that something we need to be emphasizing more?
I think so. And the avoid, there's so much remediation. There's so much fixing going on. And certainly it's coming from a delicious place. So we're spending in schools, think how much remediation, how many kids catching them up, curriculum, keeping, kids falling. Is it possible that we've given a message to kids, keep up? What about the Chassidish story? Let's say a kid can't read. So then there's no we need. Now, I get our pressure as a society. We're worried when you can't read, we're people of the book. But is it possible that we've also told, all the Chassidish stories of the guy whose siddur was upside down?
Right.
I went to my friend of Aaron Wilk, made a bar mitzvah. He's an amazing person, and he's made a bar mitzvah in Los Angeles. And I went to bar mitzvah. In a row in front of me was standing a person who probably has serious learning disabilities. And they had this siddur. They were davening Yom Kippur. It was a regular Shabbos. They clearly were davening like Yom Kippur. It was a kid with severe learning disabilities, and I was watching his tefillah. I was thinking, this is it was just beautiful. It was a real deal, davener. And I wonder, all those Chassidish stories. Now, what do you mean? We're just trying to be sophisticated. I think about my Oma who didn't go to yeshiva, who didn't have the background. Think about Yiddish Babas who couldn't read, and you watch them cry and talk to God.
Yeah.
I almost feel you can't. Right. So I wonder, and I don't know what to do because our sophistication is good. We're pushing bigger curriculums, accomplish more, and nobody can call that bad. So that's a wonderful thing, and I get it. And the pressures of the Yeshiva Katana is the best people in the world, pushing, getting our kids up to speed. I was a kid who couldn't read till 8th grade. This guy had a reading problem. I was getting Aleph pluses. I was a goody. I had a reading problem.
Wow.
But in all our keeping kids up, catching kids up, I want to somehow make sure that we're not neglecting your bracha your talk to Hashem, yes,
Just the way you are.
is really good and valuable. And I don't know the answers. I don't say to drop. It's great. I don't want to turn into all our advances. They're good things. The fact that we know more, I would almost ask like this. The Tyrus, we have different level karbanas, and there's the carbon ashir is amazing, and the ani brings flour, and Hashem says, I want kilu hikriv nafshay, nefesh kisakriv. Now, are you trying to promote a cheaper carbon? So people shouldn't be Talmidei Chacham. Of course, we want people to know tons of Torah and to be big. We're trying to figure out ways that the sincerity and the simplicity and the honesty and the comfort with self also is celebrated and stays in there with our advances.
And the imperfections. A person is loved even with their imperfections. When you talk about your parents' friendship, Scrabble, tennis, I love the imagery. There's some debate today. Should couples ever, in front of their children, not in public, not out of the house, but in front of their children at home, be affectionate? I don't even mean physically affectionate necessarily, verbally affectionate. And, there's a school of thought. I happen to believe that it's important for children to know that their parents love each other, to see love, to hear love, to have a model and a precedent of love, to expect that for themselves when they're going to get married. Again, obviously within reason, within appropriateness, within modesty, but some level. And other people think, no, absolutely not. A couple, when they're in public can mean only even at home in front of their children. They have to live as if they're just acquaintances. Nobody should see anything that makes them more than that, looks romantic or loving or affection. It's inappropriate. So is that description of the Scrabble and the tennis and the friendship, that wasn't by accident. Obviously they wanted their children to see that there's love. There's not just friendship, that there's friendship that could be between two guys in the dorm, friendship that could be between a girl in a seminary. This was a different kind of friendship, and that was important. Is that something that you think is important?
Funny, in Yeshiva, we have a basketball league, and we've had machlokes, a big game, intense games, the two guys fight. The guys make up incredibly, and afterwards, guys talk and apologize. It always kills me that the fight happened publicly. They argued and screamed at each other, and the makeup was alone in the dorm. And I always want guys to know what happened. I almost want a video. We should get a video around. Like, you should know they spoke and good things. I hope the guys know. I almost say if a couple doesn't want to show affection in public, did they ever fight in front of their kids? If you never got into an argument in front of your kids, I'm willing to be inspired and say, okay, we don't show. Maybe there's such a world. But if you're human like the rest of all of us, and you said a crossword, you said something a little angry in front of your wife, you didn't have the perfect respect.
Right.
So then to me, this that again, what the degree is that parents love each other and our best friends, our kids have to see. It has to be their halachas, even in public, how much couples show in the world. There's for sure within a parameter of halacha, of the minhagei Yisrael, kedushas Yisrael. My parents showed us they were best friends. They were best. There was those Scrabble games. They didn't hide. We watched. As of this summer, my son got married in Chicago, and we decided to stay in the same house as my parents. And the hosts, who were incredible Yidden, the Shabbat family. My father said it was worth the whole trip to Chicago to meet that family. But they wrote to us about seeing my parents play Scrabble together. My parents in the house. We were in the same house.
Traveled with them.
They were playing Scrabble.
Wow.
To watch them play Scrabble, they didn't hide that.
Right.
They were best friends unashamedly.
Wow.
They were best friends. So I think for kids to see the friendship of parents, that's my friend. That's huge. That's the best friend in the world. I think all this is the opposite. This sugya of shaivim, I would say a tremendous shaivim commitment is to be better friends with our wives, more connection. For years, I spoke about shalom bayis, and I thought a guy could be as inspired as he wants. He's going to be. If it's a front kind of shalom bayis, it's not going to happen. You have to comfortably be in the relationship, a husband and a wife, friends. We know what a healthy friendship looks like, healthily and comfortably invested in this relationship, developing, working on it. I just saw my parents. They were good friends, really close friends, best friends.
How does one do that? Because what happens, in our world, hopefully, the shidduch works out and even they're compatible. We'll leave aside the shidduch conversation about references and interrogations in the system and good and bad. Leave it aside for now. But it works out. And if Hashem blesses them, and we bless all the people who want to have children, they start, it can happen quickly, shortly after marriage. the first child, and a couple of years later, a second child, and the next thing you know, who has time for friendship when you got to change diapers and who's doing the next feeding and staying up all night and you got to pay the bills and both parties. She's working, he's learning, they're both working. Who has any time for friendship? It could get neglected super quickly. So, our system may not even allow for the friendship because what happens is you dated so short you couldn't develop a friendship, and then you got married and everything else got in the way so quickly there wasn't time for friendship. So people who are listening or watching right now, who it's never too late to find that friendship. What does friendship look like and how do you develop? Is it making yourself vulnerable? Is it taking an interest? Is it deciding to set aside time that you're not going to deal with the children and the tickets and Pesach and where we go and who we having, but you're just, give the building block. What does that even look like?
That's interesting. Guys, obviously, I'm involved in a yeshiva, and guys are getting engaged all the time. And people, we're very from today, very. So guys inevitably come to me and they say, okay, what's the Gedarim we should keep? Now, I like the question because the Kedushas Yisrael, but I'll tell you what I don't like. I said, what's the Gedarim? I said, Gedarim protects something. What's the thing? Before Gedarim, what you're protecting, what's the thing? I want a guy from the start of his engagement, he's working on the friendship. So before I want to hear Gedarim, this really like in on the friendship, there's two people who are going to be close and develop. It means time. My father was such a busy man. I'll tell you an interesting story. My father once made an appeal to his shul. He was trying to get more people come to shiurim to learn more. And I was there. I had the opportunity to be there. And he was giving a speech. He was starting a new shiur and trying to ask more people to come learn. In the middle of this speech, he said, if it's hard for your wife, you're not let it come. And he started saying, make sure to spend time with your wife. To the point, I asked Abba, you undermined your own appeal. Yeah. Said you're under, and he described me. He said, no, it can't be at the expense of the relationship. It's with your wife. Yeah, I saw my father, a busy person, driven 7 blot a day for many years, 2 daf yomis a day. He was a Rosh Kollel. He ran a Sephardi yeshiva. He was running stuff, doing stuff. There was time for my mother. They went together to Simchas. They were on 2 time clocks. My father is, and my mother's more my time. I'm my mother's time zone. The way they went to every Simcha, and it was like my father waiting and my mother, and each one with their own clock. They went together, always went together to Simchas. You talk about a legacy. Going to Simchas was always, but every var, no question, they went to Simchas happily. That was like, they spoke about that. You go to a Yid Simcha, happily and kindly, but together.
Right.
They were a team, husband and wife and husband. I really say to everybody, to all of us, this is something each of us to be mechazek, is to really strengthen ourselves, more time, more focus. Time can't be enough. Focus. We get distracted. It's a busy world, children, all the jobs, the focus on a wife, husband and wife. You talk like a visual. You're running a Shabbos table and you have our children, we have guests. I think the heart of a Shabbos table is the husband and wife talking. Having guests means you let more people listen to the husband and wife talking. Having children, they could also join in. They should join the conversation. Husband and wife together, focused, really being connected. To me, that has to be there. That focus, that connection.
I read one of the biographies of Lubavitcher Rebbe. It says that every afternoon he would have tea with his Rebbitzin, and he was quoted as saying that the tea with his Rebbitzin daily was as important as his putting on tefillin. If he missed one day, it would be like he skipped putting on tefillin. We know what tefillin meant to the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
I never heard
that every afternoon he was for Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael were his children, the Rebbe. But that tea with his wife.
Gift. I'm serious. I like stories of tzaddikim. I mean, that means a lot to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It had an impact on me. Because again, that notion of missing it was to him like missing. I'll show it. I have it in one of the biographies.
I would picture that story to Rebbe because he was a present person, respected Yid, and I would assume the most his
and that
life.
time, that friendship, that check-in, that support. I've said this at many chuppahs and Sheva brachas, but the last bracha of the Sheva brachas, which is a whole list of sin and Allah Hashem, a whole list. What we Ashabah Sasam Simcha Gila Rina Ditza Ched and then we end it with Reis. The last word of the last bracha is friendship. It's a climactic. Love, romance, happily ever after. friendship? So I said, yeah, because a lot of people, they started liking each other, and then they love, and now they stop liking the people they love. So the French keeping their friendship alive and liking the people that you love. So if there are young men, young women listening who are in shidduchim, who are dating, how should this impact their approach to shidduchim? When they're choosing who to go out with, or on dates, are they trying to explore whether is this fertile for friendship? You're not asking a form of friendship. You're having a drink in a lobby. It's distant. It's not exactly necessarily. Again, depends on the community. I know there's obviously a very big spectrum of the community, but how can you tell 4, 5, 6, 8 dates, whatever the length of time? How can you tell whether there's going to be friendship? How should this inform the approach to shidduchim?
It's a valid question. I don't want to force it that it does inform. I do tend to think that the first question in dating is, would she or he be my friend? If we would be in the same, I think that's the first question. Are we shaykh? Would we be friends?
Right.
If she would be in my yeshiva, would we be friends? I think that's an important question. I like that question anyway. If my own kids have dated and are dating, and I want that question, would she be my friend? Would he be my friend? And that's an important question. But the point that we're best friends forever, best friends, that this is I said maybe to say this publicly, but we were told what you said, what chiba you show publicly, and I want to say this, that I could personally testify anything, if I could do anything. I don't know how much I've done. My parents have given me a good legacy, and I'm trying to share the little I have or what I have. I shouldn't say little because we're Yidden, we have a lot, but I'm trying to share what I have. And I want to say that my wife being my best friend allows me to do anything. It's like a hack on life. It's the secret. A wife being best friends, really. We know what good friendship, all of us know what good friendship is. Spend time. The story of the Rabbi, the tea with your wife, spend time, but focus. Be in it. It's wonderful. We crave friendship. Be in it. Spend the time. Take the time. It's a closer friendship, so it's more complex.
Right.
I think newlyweds, when they start, and a lot of people then back away, they said, I never had this with friends. This is the friendship. It's not a friendship. It's deeper. When we're younger, we have friendships. We back away, and we only give and show what we want. This is not Kudeshus L'Chatzayim.
Yeah.
We don't marry half lady. It's Nispashe Pekule.
Right.
We're fully a full man married to a fully woman.
Such an important image, because there's so many people today who they're like, this isn't my friend, that's my wife. That's who we raise the kids with, or figure out the Shabbos plans with. My friends are who I go out with. They're in the base measures. It's my chavrusa. It's who I escape with. It's who I have coffee with. And that turning that around and saying, no. Those other people, they're acquaintances. The ultimate and the core friendship is with your spouse, and make that.
I like sharing more. People, that discussion earlier, the struggles of a person. I've seen people publicly claim a man's not mechuyev to tell her this. A guy from Waterbury shares with his wife. If he listens to the yeshiva, and I don't say everybody listens, when they date, they share. I'm really shooting for marriage. I don't want a guy going in, she doesn't know this, she doesn't know that. Why does she have to know? Because we want to be married. I want the full him accepting the full her. They just together. We're all human with struggles, with stuff. But my stuff with your stuff, and let's really be married, a full acceptance. So I like sharing. I think men to share with their wives, men. The men and ladies are different. No break, nothing new there. But real sharing more than less. Sharing. Learn to share. Learn each one. We need a shleimus of a husband and a wife, her perspective, his. More sharing than less is something really to be in the friendship. The greats were in the friendship. That famous letter from Ricky Vega where somebody read him a shidduch too shortly after his wife passed away. And he said, you don't understand, we talked half the night, he writes in the letter. Right. The big ones, you're right, that we don't see it with our tzaddikim and our Rabbi and our leaders. We don't always get to see it. I feel lucky that my father's my Rabbi and I got to see him be affectionate and be close with his wife. Maybe like the Gadol Shimusha Yaisim Limuda, maybe we have to arrange with our Rebbeim to see them. Many people were Zeichet to see their Rebbeim with their mishpachos. I was Zeichet in Eretz Yisrael to see Rav Henoch Leibowitz walk with his wife. They were close. They were close. They were walking together in Eretz Yisrael. Maybe they're different than Hagim. Other side, they walk next to each other. I saw it. Sanhedrin Rechevet.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. Rabbi Kalish, thank you for your time. We can't wait for an amazing Shabbos. and to continue to come to Boca. I hope it will never wear off that feeling of wanting to just connect with Yidden everywhere, and maybe not everywhere, but at least Boca Raton. So we'll come to Waterbury, Boca, and Halavai will meet in Yerushalayim. So thank you for what you've done for our family, our children, for us, and for being in our community, and these incredible messages that this whole conversation, there's so many parts that I think can really have an impact. And I hope people listen. I hope I'll listen. I really want to thank you so much.
Thanks a ton.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.